get the most out of life, you gotta push for it. Push away fear. Push away boundaries. Push yourself and push each other. No matter what life throws your way, just keep pushing. Like we did.
Salt-N-Peppa, the movie event. Premieres Saturday at 8 on Lifetime.
So, I'm Mario Van Peebles. I've directed a lot of movies, but rarely do I get to interview the two stars of the movie after we finish the movie. This is a treat. I've never gotten to do this before. So I'm gonna ask them all kind of questions because I know where it is and I know what happened. So I'll let them do what they do first, but then I'm gonna get the good questions. I wanna let them introduce themselves. This is the lovely Laila and Gigi. Gigi, you wanna go first and introduce yourself?
Hi, everyone. My name is Gigi Townson, and I play the lovely Cheryl Salt James in the upcoming biopic Salt-N-Peppa.
What's up, everybody? I'm Laila Odom, and I play Pep in the Salt-N-Peppa biopic directed by yours truly, MVP.
So let me tell you what was so cool. Every now and then, the first folks you see, I don't know, this happens a lot. It happened on New Jack City when I saw Chris Rock. I just knew he was Pookie. But these two sisters came through the door to play Salt-N-Peppa, these two musical icons. And they were so dope, and we had them work together, and they knew each other. So they already came in, and I was like, I remember I kind of cheated and called y'all up and said, listen, I'm loving what you're doing. These are the hoops we need to get through so that everyone can co-sign onto this, because no one's an island. But I remember you guys first got together and y'all did your thing together, and you were the only ones we did that. We were like, you should play this together, and we got it through, and you were the first ones we saw, and you're here at the end, and y'all killed it. So I want to say thank you so much for making my job easy, because I was like, oh, I can walk away now, we got it. But not only did you have the look, the acting skills, the voices, but you also had the dance and the attitude and the energy. So I want to ask you first, Laila, what was one of the tougher things you had to overcome and work with to play Sandy?
Like, me playing Sandra was she's very close to who I am already. So it was being able to show a range of emotions. Like, I just didn't want to show her like a one-dimensional character. And I think MVP, I think we kind of talked about that, and not just making her so very hard or her come off one kind of way. And in that scene, the breakup scene, I think the three of us all know how important and difficult that was, of like, this is their friendship breaking up. And that's my most favorite scene in the movie, because now we see something different from Pep. We're seeing a different side of her. Yeah, I want to applaud you for that, because you directed that for real. And G, I want to thank you for being there, because G is like maybe 3 feet away from me. And it was just so beautiful how it worked out. So that ended up being my favorite scene. And that was the most challenging, and we want to see Pep vulnerable. Like, we've seen her play games, we've seen her jump off of buildings and all types of stuff, but we never saw her really sit with some pain. And this is where we see it.
And one of the things that I think is valuable there, it's like we talked about on the set, is some of your best acting, our best acting as actors, is not acting, it's also reacting. So it was covering the moments where she's forward lean. We know what that is. When she's knocking somebody out, when she's on the mic, when she's, full on, 101% there. It's those quiet in between moments, those never seen moments. What is she like when she's alone? What is she like when she's, dealing with something emotional? How does that look? And one of the things that we did, I know you two ladies remember, is in that scene, the breakup, the tricky thing is it happens over the phone. So the other actor, Laila, is not in the same room with Gigi, right? So what we did to make sure that it was emotionally cohesive was we had Gigi come on a day when she was not even being filmed. Do you know what I mean? And per se, and be in that room so that we could get that intimacy, so that even though those were in two different places, they were covered like one. And as you'll notice it in the final, the way it's lit on the same side. So, you know, Laila, you were on this way here, and Gigi's that way there, and you guys are facing each other, and the candles are on the far side, which gives you that nice Rembrandt lighting, which looks great on our honey browns and our golden browns, you know, all that great, all the skin, y'all, all our colors, you know, we come in all flavors, Black folks, we come in every flavor. But to get you two emotionally to be in the same space and then commit to that, that was dope. So Gigi had to come on that. Gigi, what was one of the most challenging things you had to work with to play Cheryl?
I would say learning how to turn off the emotions, or like how Laila was speaking about earlier, to clean up. Laila had mentioned that in an interview earlier. And one of my scenes when I was purging after the breakup with Herbie, and that was a really big scene for that day in particular, because Cheryl was there, and then Cheryl got emotional, and then she came into the bathroom with me, and then we were both sitting and crying, and, you know, to understand that it was okay to take my moment, really get it out, and then reset for the next scene. And then also too, a lot of what we worked on was, you know, being able to take her from 18 to now she's a woman. So you counseled me a lot on finding, you know, her depth, and, you know, because she's chill and, you know, laid back, and that's just who she is as a person, but it's a different chilled and laid back as a teenager versus an adult. And because I am not actually at that age that I was playing, you know, getting there or being able to embody that, you know, the wisdom and everything that she had at that age was a challenge for me. But, you know, working with you, I can say it was easy because you're the best. So
yeah, thank you. I had so much fun working with both of you on that stuff, because we could speak actor together, but I could also kind of speak director to you too.
Yeah.
You know, I could tell you, here's what we're doing with this scene, because as you look back at the experience, there were certain times that I came to you as a filmmaker and said, listen, we don't really have the time to shoot all this. So we're gonna take the time with these acting parts where we're gonna have to go again, and we will go until we get it. But there's gonna be other places literally where I need you to change clothes in a freaking tent, to not go diva. Because look at all the stage performance we got outside. You know, we got that one day, and that was y'all having that hustle of because I talked to Cheryl and Sandy, this real Salt-N-Peppa, about the level of hustle and commitment they had to do, showing up when there was no women's dressing room, no women's bathroom, coming into that, you know, because man, we don't treat our restroom too well, you know what I'm saying? But coming into that world and go, we're gonna change right here, we're gonna get it right. And there were so many places where literally the time of filmmaking, because there's always two elements to making a film. There's the making of the film, and there's the managing of the elements while you make the film. So we can shoot the film, but then we got to say, okay, but we don't want to take too long to make this costume change. And there were times when y'all were just like, hell with that, forget modesty, boom, we out, we going, we jumping in this mud pit. So a lot of that was kind of cool, because they had to go through those changes in their lives as well. And you guys were able to pull that together and then go on stage, be what you needed to be, you know. And I think one of the things for you too, Gigi, was there was a lot of times where you were almost the peacemaker. You're the connective tissue, trying to keep Herbie over here, you know, and Sandy over there, you know what I mean? And then trying to deal with how and when do I do me? I'm so busy trying to handle these personalities. How and when do I show me, and what does that moment look like? And you found some great places to do that. Yeah,
definitely.
I was really happy. Tell me a little bit talk about the choreography, and then having to get that in timing with the rapping, because it wasn't just dancing now in your boot camp. It wasn't just about, okay, we're gonna just be dancers, because you remember y'all had to rap to it. You know, tell us about that challenge.
Well, it was definitely a learning experience for us for sure. And what I want people to understand is we really learned it's not something that we smoothed over or tried to make it look like we did it with with flair. We were in it, so we learned the dance moves. We were rapping, even the scenes where the actual track is playing over the scene. You still had us, if I don't see spit, we're doing it again. But I'm tired. My makeup is dripping because the sweat, under the lights, and then being pregnant and not really pregnant, but the bodysuit and rapping with chords, like all those elements, like there was no movie magic in that. We really made that happen, for sure. And even when you stretched us and kept us on our toes, and we have a routine, and this is the space that we've built this routine, but you want us to do it here. Have to adjust on the fly. And I think that's one of the things that I really take away from this experience is being able to adjust. It doesn't matter what you did in rehearsal. It doesn't matter.
Yes. And don't even talk about it. Just go with it. Go with it.
Right.
and Laila, what about you?
Listen, it was such an experience of, it's twofold, like you said, it's acting and then it's also performing, and you're still acting as the performer, but it's not just one thing. You definitely pushed us to places that I don't think another director could have done. And we were still like, okay, I trust you, I believe you. I'm just gonna call it out. When you put your hat on Gigi's head for that scene, I was like, well, I guess I gotta go with this man, because this man crazy. This man is crazy. It's the MVP, and she's wearing this hat, but it works.
Yes.
But it works. And I think that a lot of this is about trusting someone's judgment. Trusting, like, we love you, we believe in you. But some days you'd be like, why are we doing this? What is the point? And then in retrospect now, it's like, oh, that makes sense. Like I get that. Like, yeah, that makes sense to me now. Even your little percentages, like you used to kill me. You'd be like 8%. Yes. 8%. Like, and we're so stupid. We're like, yeah, 8%. I'm 5. Okay, I got the 5.
4. Okay.
It was
right.
It was,
but you what was like I said, is I was able to also talk filmmaker to you, so that you understood that one day we had the Luma crane. If we could get, which no one thought we could get, the autograph signing, how that would big up that part of their trajectory, when that makes sense. And the weird stuff is all those little scenes we ad-libbed and came up with, they're in the trailer. Those are the badass movie moments. You know what I mean? Well, we were like, if they can make money from us, we can make money from us. Do you know what I mean? I would just go to y'all early, give you this, say, let's just get this, just say it. I'm not gonna go. We're just gonna say it. We're gonna do it. And you see it's in the trailer. They're like, that's in the trailer. You know what I mean?
Listen, it was a lot of your ideas that we had to go with. And it's not always easy to like just relinquish your art to someone of like, okay, I don't want to do that, but I trust you so that you see it in a place that I can't see it. And we did that.
Like when Gigi, you were there, but I asked Laila, I said, Laila, okay, now I want to do this scene where you fall back through the air off of the bungee jump and you land in the bed. And she looked at me, what are we talking about? How? What? And you were such a pro. You went in there, and then I just, all I had to do, you're visual. If I can show you, let you look behind the camera and show it to you, it's suddenly you go, got it. I totally understand. So then you know how to play it when she goes back. So literally in that shot where she falls back in the bed, we had Laila up there on a dolly in ski boots.
Tell the
Okay.
people.
In ski boots, and then we push the dolly backwards. So we had the bed put against the wall. Okay, feel me? So the bed is against the wall. The pillows are looking like they're on the wall, right? And then she just stands in front of it, and we push her backwards on the ski boots, and she.
Yeah.
Come on, woman.
It's called Negro Make Do VFX.
Period.
Listen, when he showed me that, I was like, who's doing that? Who's doing what? But I did it. Then I did the whole like, yo, off of a, like I that's what I mean by I do my own stunts. Like,
yeah, you were so cool.
Backward.
You just let it play, and it was like, what really comes across is, you know, she's a bit of an adrenaline junkie. If you like her, she's gonna test you.
Right.
You know what I mean? You're gonna have to do something besides just be a player. You're gonna have to bring something. And there's something about her. There's that old saying that sometimes when we're on the edge, when we're sometimes closer to death, we feel so alive, right? And she's that sister that's like, you got to do something that makes me know we're going to go all the way. There's something really about, and I think you really caught that. The bungee jump scene is one of them. The whole car race scene.
Yeah, the car race. Yeah.
So I'm so glad we got, and then you see how that goes into the bed with in that next shot.
Yeah.
Pretty dope, right?
It is. I'm not gonna front. It was like because I came to you and I was talking to you about, I saw the episode of Power that you directed, right, which was an intimate scene, and I was like, "Ooh, that was crazy," and you were like, "Yeah."
But we didn't go that far. But you look it looks so good. It looks so good. And then some of the stuff you had to do, you know, time-wise, you know, for both of you, the evolution of your character from age 18, you know, 20 years.
Yeah.
You playing that character and not being tempted to play her where she is now is really hard to do. But say, okay, what does that look like? -7, -4, and then becoming a mother, and then that scene where you're both in the studio with Herbie, and y'all leave, and you guys just ad lib. I would say like y'all would stack, and I would just say put some funk on it or whatever, and you would stack, and you were like, and he said, and what did you say as you left? It was great, and it's in the movie. We say,
none of your business.
none of your business, right? You're like, y'all gonna clean up the studio, and you're like, it's none of your business, you know. But you guys, there were so many places where I had the sense to just let the cameras run. For example, when you're on the top of the car, Gigi told me about that. When you're on the top of the car celebrating, and then, you know, Laila helps you up on the top of the car, and then the dude yells out the window. I mean, that's a great moment. Gigi, tell me a little bit about that one.
How that even happened? Because Laila, I believe she was just like, yeah, I'm about to stand on top of this car. And then I was like, wait, I gotta go up here too. Okay. And she helped me get up, but that was just like, you really see the constant narrative of Pep pulled me out of my box, but I kept her from going over the edge, because real life, I was hesitant on getting on top of this car. So I'm like, these boots are slippery. I don't know, I don't want to fall. But yeah, like that was a real moment. And that wasn't something that we could have, you know, written in. Like that was just an organic moment. And it's really dope that Laila and I shared that connection to the real story and to these women, and that we balance each other the same way that they balance each other. So
yeah. And I think that the thing I like too is just the evolution of, you know, when you two connect. We talked about, you know, because I spent a lot of time with Cheryl and Sandy, and we talked about their connection was laughter and performance. You know, that Cheryl said, you know, no one could make me laugh like Sandy could. Do you know what I mean? And performing. So finding those moments, you know, in each performance, we call those our liftoff moments. You remember we talked about our lift, when these two sisters, when we realized that the whole is greater than the sum of the parts, that 1 + 1 = 7. It doesn't equal 2. Do you know what I mean? That when you're singing, Laila, or rapping, and you look over her, and there's a part where you both start to connect and go, oh, this is working. We're getting that lift off. capturing those moments in a whole different vibe. And you guys absolutely understood it. We actually got pretty good at it. But the first one, it's a beautiful moment, is when, you know, it was a scene that was not in the original script, but it came from Cheryl, was like, we had to perform, you know, at Dougie Fresh's high school.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Going into the belly of the beast. And that was a great first one. And y'all got up there and it was a trip. I mean, it was like, and it was supposed to be the roughest performance. Do you know what I mean? It's actually, the way it finishes up, it's a lot more polished than it was originally. But
Thank
you
you.
guys did your thing. You had to get up there and make do and be fearless. And y'all did it, you know. Congratulations, man. And then the other thing for me, Gigi, that I really liked was the moments that you played Cheryl starting to own her craft, saying, listen, I maybe should have left Herbie as a girlfriend long time ago, but I've learned it all. I know how to do this stuff now. And those little moments of observation where she's putting up with it, but she's learning the craft of producing. And that scene, it really culminates when she's finally alone in the studio with the two guys and says, play it again. And that one was great because your voice, you know, you went lower register with your voice. And I really believe the age and you own it. And also at the end, when you get the call from, you know, to come perform and you really feel the age, don't you?
Yeah. No, for sure. And at the time, you know, and like Laila said, you know, we had to relinquish control and just trust you. I was doubting myself. I'm like, I can't pull this age off. Like, I probably look like a child. But, you know, seeing it all back, and even with the, you know, the makeup and the hair choices and even the wardrobe, like, it came together so well. I miss the scene with my older child. I wish.
Yeah, there's always things you get cut out. I'm like, oh man. Yeah.
Mario, it's so crazy you said that. I said, that's my favorite scene of Gigi when she says, play the track. It's like, it's the start of something important. It's the start of her owning and becoming everything that she's going to be. And we don't know that. Like, as a fan, I didn't know that about Salt. Like, I didn't know. And I said, like, I give that up to her as often as possible of, that is my favorite moment of her. That's my favorite moment of her, of like, okay, I'm doing it by myself. Herbie left, Pep is off doing God knows what, but I'm going to do it. And it just, it changes, like, it changes things. And we start to see you a little different. Like, that's my favorite moment of you.
It was so dope. I think all in all, as we look back on it, we did something else that I think really worked well for you as performers. And that is, as much as possible, we played the age chronologically in terms of when we shot. So that when you had performed a lot together, that's when we played our last performance. We didn't do that at the beginning of the movie. You know, and behind the scenes, that's what I was fighting for, is like, I want to make sure they've had all this time before we do that big VH1 performance. And the other scene that I love, and y'all just killed it, I just was like laughing, and you look fantastic, was the scene where she comes to your pool party, and you have on that blue, I was like, and we went with red, white, and blue on them. And it was like, and y'all were like, oh, also, she's on some church lady. He gave you a church gift. Y'all were just going in. I was like, oh, that was great. That was you. That was not, I was just like, this is going to look great. And I just rolled the cameras, and then I said, go at it. And y'all went in, and that was great, man. That was good.
I love that scene too. I did.
That was dope. And remember this thing too, y'all were at that point, even when she calls and he's like, he goes, you home? She goes, no, tell her I'm not here. It was like, oh my God, you know what I mean? Yeah,
that was perfect. There's so many moments that stick out in my mind that you did, that I was like, yo, he has a vision that, like, once it all comes together, it's going to be like together. Even the thing of us, when you directed that scene of with my hair, the perm, and the sister, hilarious.
Like, she was good too, right? She was good. She was like trying to get in, and you're like, why are you over here?
Yeah, she was like, get out of here. It was so perfect.
It was so perfect with you two interacting there because she's like, and you answered her before she can get the words out. You're like, let me cut your hair. You're like, no. And then she cut mine. And you're like, you do that? Like suddenly her being willing to let you cut her hair means that you could trust her with your hair.
Right.
You know, still don't mean she'd give you a good lineup, but that the improv of that was dope. And then how that goes in to the photo shoot.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You know, oh wow, that piece falls here, which takes us over there and takes us to the photo shoot. Do you know what I mean? And I could talk movie to you there and explain it to you, like when we were hustling like crazy to get all that stuff for the top hats, but it works.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? And then you guys knew the you knew the characters well enough and how they move, and you'd seen the video, so you knew what we were paying homage to. Do you know what I mean? That really worked. I mean, towards the end, it was crazy, and I was counting on you to be like, I'll be like, 5 minutes, we gotta go, we're gonna make this, and we got it all.
We know.
We got those people, you know.
We was there. We know the 5 minutes. Like we was right there, like changing the hallway. Oh, okay, change outside. Okay.
You want to know.
Cold, right? It was cold, man. But you know, the other thing that I think you do feel in this movie, a couple of people have said, the sense of seasons. You know, the Christmas, and you know, you do feel a sense of time passage. Yeah. You know, and I think that was great too, Gigi. That first shot that's a wonder with you and Herbie walking up the street. When he says, you know, maybe we don't need salt and that's all. There's no edits in that scene.
That one was so hard.
Yeah. That was cool.
Yeah.
That was cool. But you got it. Do you know what I mean? Parenthood has always been important to me. Yeah, I love being a dad. I played a lot of roles, but you know, I love being a dad. In fact, in New Jack City, my first feature, I borrowed someone's baby for the scene on the beach. I had no kids at that point, right? So I wanted to show what kind of father this was. And you two showing yourselves as mothers and saying, this is a part of our lives was so dope. And you made that believable. The other scene, Laila, which is beautiful, is one of those scenes with no dialogue. And that's when you walk downstairs and Tretch is making breakfast. And he's watching and he says, I guess mama does know what she's doing. And you watch and there's just this beautiful little internal smile that you do. It's just a precious little in between. You know what I'm talking about? It's just where you see this little domestic life, and because there's highs and lows, and that's the highs, and you caught that just with no dialogue, and then people are like, do we need that moment? I was like, yes, we need that moment. That is, I'm gonna fight for that moment. Do you know what I mean? But those moments when you guys, you really, you know, made those children feel like yours. That was beautiful.
That was one of my, like, I love the performance, but that was like one of my favorite moments because it was like I had to evolve and really become a parent. I'm not a parent.
That was great. Yeah. I remember when I was shooting Ali, my two daughters were playing I was playing Malcolm X, and my two daughters were playing my daughters. And my little daughter, Morgana, you know, because another actress was playing her mother. And after a while, Morgana looked up and she said, okay, I want my other mother now. And you guys, I never had that moment. Those kids love sitting with you and hanging with you and bonding. And that's got all to do, you know, that's not about, you can't pay a baby to do that. That's got all to do with your energy and the energy they're feeling. Because there's always two things we love about a person, like I said in the sermon, it's who they are and who we are with them. And you made those kids feel centered enough to act with them, which is in your arms. And that beginning of the song where you go, what's my unique weakness? Man, do you know what I mean? And then Tretch comes in, that really was perfect. I also love, you know, one of the scenes where there was a good evolution was the scene in Russia. Where you're sitting in Russia, you've toured all over the world, the snow's falling, and you're not with the people you love.
Yeah.
And you have to ask yourself that we as artists do have to ask. I have to leave this weekend. And that is, how much time am I willing to spend away from the folks I love? And how do I integrate those that I do love into my life and into my work life? And that was a great scene where both of you had to age it up, but keep the fun, and y'all kept the fun. And that was actually one of the audition scenes you did. Remember that?
Yes.
That was, in the car scene was one of the scenes I was like, okay, they're the right. This is it. I know who Cheryl's. I know who Salt-N-Peppa are. You know what I mean? And then I think the other thing was, we haven't talked about this all, but bringing in, Spinderella. That whole element of, this is our new Spinderella, and sort of adopting and teaching and nurturing and having all that, and like, no, and that scene where you're going, I'm gonna go down, you pour the ice in the tub, and she's like.
I remember that. But Mario, do you remember when we meet the second Spinderella and we're taking pictures and we all have smiles, but who? Salt. But somehow we don't see it, but on set, I saw it. She was like, and she was like, that's that was one of my favorite moments for you.
A lot of that stuff is great because you're planting things subtextually that come to fruition, as the piece evolves. And so by the end, we really know who the characters are. And the other thing is you really get a sense for Steve, for Herbie's younger brother, right? Do you know what I mean? It was just like, and you guys treated him, okay, he's cool, he's a different kind of cat. Right. You know what I mean? But the evolution, and you both look so beautiful. I mean, I had like man crushes on y'all. I was like, damn, y'all just look beautiful. And that was important, was, it's that I don't think we see enough roles where young women of color get to play 360-degree characters. You know what I mean? Young women, flawed, fun, the strip club scene, driving in the car, motherhood, all the way through. And that's why it was important, even the scene where y'all are playing pool, to see y'all glammed up a little bit. You know what I mean? That we can see you everything from, this is how we look when we get in our street hustle on, and this is how we look when we're running Sharkies, and we can do that. And so it was really good to see all those ranges. Tell me one last thing I want to talk about is the hair. How was that for you? Like working with them hair, because that's an iconic hair, man.
The hair was amazing for me. I feel like once I got there and got into the hair, that solidified it. Like, yep, this is really happening. And I was pleased to discover that I could rock some really different styles. I could rock finger waves, baby.
You were beautiful with those finger waves, like beautiful.
Oh,
for you.
Yeah.
I may have to, do a finger wave situation.
Super cute.
Doing all the hair was great, and like I said, discovering, different looks and being able to tap into all of that and transforming into Cheryl for me and seeing it, and my mom, I would send her pictures and stuff, and of course she would text me like, "You look like me." I did, yeah, too, but come now, I'm Cheryl J.
Right. No, you dead on look like her, but my favorite look for you was definitely the finger waves. Like, I love that look on you.
And what about for you, Laila?
Well, you know how I felt about that poodle. Everybody knows I could not stand the poodle, but I got over it. Like, I think for me, I like Pep's looks towards the end, like
Yeah.
That
was dope. And you could tell too, because when you performed, you had this confidence with it. It had evolved. You know what I mean? It was, and you're chocolate Jessica Rabbit anyway. You know what I mean? You're not bad. You just draw them that way. You know what I mean? So you brought it all. Let me ask you this, Laila. What do you hope audiences get from this?
I hope that audience take away from this project the friendship between two women, and just like, I don't want to not answer the question, but I want to bring this in of how you intertwine a lot of like the demons for Salt, the purging, for me, the cutting. We're all flawed. Mm-hmm. We know that. But I think that it's so important for this story to show we're flawed, but they're still alive. nothing tragic really truly happened at the end of this. So that's one thing of like, when you look, we had a very tumultuous 2020. It's been very difficult. Young performers passed, 21, 25, 28, very young. I hope that maybe there's a level of care that they can learn from this, a level of like, you know, Pep is very like we all said, like a hothead. But as you get older, you have to calm that down and understand I have a career now, or I'm somebody's mom now. And I think those are the things that I hope the 21, like the people who might not know this group and they might just end up knowing me and Gigi for this, to take that away from it, of like, you know, like that's what I hope for.
Nice, nice. And Gigi?
I feel like what I want audience to get from this story is that despite everything that they went through, they were still true to themselves. Even though it hurt the fans to break up, you know, Cheryl had to do what she had to do. And then within that time, you know, Pep did what she needed to do, and they came back better women. There was no animosity. There was no, you know, they both came back with an understanding of like, you my girl, you know, when our last moment of "don't you ever leave me, bitch," like, you know, that's a real moment.
Your words, MVP. Your words.
So that and that they are, you know, they're coming to the world with this story of honesty and truth and open hearts, and you know, I hope that people receive it with open minds, because let's be real, they didn't have social media back in the day, so they didn't have to show all the ugly about it. You feel me? Because people are you know, they're negative on social media, and they like to take one thing and blow it up and nitpick and, you know, make people feel bad about their image and all these different things. So the fact that they chose to share all of this with everyone, even knowing what's going on, you know, and how people take certain things in the social media world, I believe needs to be treated with the utmost respect, because they didn't have to, you know, and they didn't have to be as honest and open and real, you know, with everyone. So I definitely hope that people receive it in that manner.
Yeah, I think you know, even as we talked about before, that they were active musically, but they also to some degree became activists. You look at how this regime, this president, has sort of denied the pandemic. They went all in on the first, you know, virus, you know, on AIDS. They didn't shy away from it. They didn't play it down. They didn't, you know, they said, no, this is affecting our community. It's affecting young folks, and we're going to talk about sex, and we're going to talk about AIDS, and we're going to do that. And that was very brave. That had not been done, you know. So they went to places that many artists were not willing to go yet. And then later, after, you know, you get the sort of the We Are the World and all that, you get all that stuff too. But they were willing to go in. I think that's really, really admirable. And the other thing, like you said, is they didn't get hooked on the dumb stuff. They didn't get, you know, when you get in the music business, you know, like it's a version, it's probably more extreme than our business, than film or television. But there's sex, drugs, and rock and roll. And they didn't get addicted. You know, how many movies have we seen where someone gets addicted to this and hooked on that and dies on some? These women walked off into the sunset. They had their stuff, you know, and they did it. They made their way out of no way, and they walked off. And I love that, you know, I love that. And I love the moment when y'all went in on each other. That's another one of my favorite moments, when you guys are like deciding whether you're going to go on tour again, and y'all just ad lib. Y'all took it. So why is it me that got to do this? And then Laila came back. Oh, she needs it too. and it was like, oh, well, thank you, pal. Oh, you're gonna save me now. It was like y'all knew each other well enough to do all of that. You know what I mean? Even the scene at the bar with Herbie, when you're like, you know what, you a real a-hole. You know, there was some really good bits there where I think things landed, and I'm pretty excited to see how it goes, and we pushed it, and then even when y'all did took turns being pregnant with the bellies, and you're coming and you're going to cut the deal with Herbie, and those little subtle things where you just touch hands and there's no dialogue and they just have that look together, and that's those
nice.
little moments, or when you're on the phone and she comes in and she talks about the record deal, and then y'all started going, we got a record deal. That wasn't in the script. That was not MVP saying, why don't y'all do this? Y'all just took it and stacked it, and it was dope. I was like, it's in the movie. It's got to be in the movie.
Yeah.
There were a lot of times. I have pictures of people have taken videos of me while I was directing it, and it's crazy because I'm like, when you feed a baby, you unconsciously make the faces of the baby. So if I'm feeding the baby, I go like this, right? And I'm watching you guys perform, and I look like a crazy man because, someone got a video of me. I'm like, oh man, that's crazy. I'm so into it. I'm just like watching you guys do your moves, and it's just dope. So what I liked was I saw the evolution of you as people, as women, as mothers, but also as performers. That your confidence level got up from that first one on the table when you weren't sure to the next one where the moves, and it was trying to get you guys to not be good anymore. Okay, take that. And that's where I was going with percentages. I need you to be 20% worse. Y'all are too good, 20% worse. And Laila will be like, I'll give you 17. 20. And then all the stuff we shot at the call center.
That was good. That was
the call, and where you first come in and Gigi, you're kind of getting a vibe on her, and she's like, okay, so we're the man, and you're like, do I want to introduce this crazy chick to anybody? Do I really want to co-sign this? I don't know. But that where you see it, and then when you guys get the promotion, it has really nice steps to it.
No, it does.
And then you're at the strip club. Whoa, my God. And the way you took, because it was because you were kind of resistant to going up, but then when you finally did, you go up there and you start to take it over. And what we don't realize we're seeing is that this chick, this sister, is comfortable on a stage in some crazy situation, and she can do it. She can own it. So we're getting little hints of that, like, oh, so we just saw you beatbox at the thing, at the work, and now we're seeing the performance, and it's like, okay, just hanging those little things on the wall, those little steps.
Right.
That relationship with Salt being in the middle of me and Herbie, we never got along.
Right.
We never got along. Listen, there's so many moments when I look at him with like such,
Even and some good ones. I mean, even when we do some one takes, which are so good for actors, because really, and what I love is you guys are familiar with theater. It's like a piece of theater. I know we should cut this interview off, but this is too great. The one shot we did, which is just one shot with AJ, our cameraman, running around while y'all start to create Push It. And there's no edits. And in one shot, we come in, you walk us out into the studio, and you're like, Herbie, do we really have to? And you're like, oh, bayo, bayo. And I was like, and Cheryl was there. Cheryl was there that day, and she's like, this is great. This is great. They got it. We were in the room like that. And then you guys take old girl's soda from her. Thank you. You know what I mean? And then you go right to the song, and then we go right through the wall. That was a dope. That was fun. And what I thank you both for on that is when we as filmmakers do wonders like that, the rhythm has to be just right, because we're not going to tighten it up later in the edit. There's no edit trickology in that. That's all y'all. Right. All I said was action and then cut. But everything in between, there's no cuts. So everything has to be organic, move around, the cameras to get in there, and then we would go with different color schemes, because I love bringing that in. And then you go all the way, and then you're like, And then you go to the beginning, we're like, oh, when you first hear dun, 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 dun.
That was like, that's one of my favorite scenes.
Yeah, that,
Yeah.
you're like, oh, bail. and he Cleveland's so good there. He's like, come on, Sandy, and you're like, and then you're like, can't we just do this? It was great. It was great. Okay. Anyway, I think they're cutting me off, giving us the
We
hook.
love you.
Dude,
We love you.
I had so much fun working with you guys, you two on this.
Okay.
Y'all tore it up. Y'all tore it up. You really, and this is fun to do because I really wanted to say thank you for putting up with me. There were so many times where I was asking you to do crazy stuff, from bungee jumping off to fall, to just all kinds of stuff. But now you see it in one shot and it's like, it all makes sense. Do you know what I mean? And then things that we would get, like the schoolyard performance that were not in the script when you signed up to do this. But Cheryl told me, I was like, that scene's got to be in the movie. You know what I mean? And all the things you ad lib to knocking that Joker out. you know what I mean? There were some great moments. Yeah. Thank you for letting me play with you. It was beautiful.
Thank you for choosing us.
Oh man.
Choosing us. Like
we chose together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you see that on my wall?
Oh yeah, nice.
I love you guys so much. Thank you.
Much love. Bye, Gigi. Bye, Layla.
Bye, MVP.
See you later. Bye, y'all.